Gail, and today I want to speak about the power of being aware and how important that is on the spiritual path. Spiritual awakening is all about awareness. It's about being aware of everything and essentially, in the end, knowing that we are this awareness, we are this being aware experience. There's an inner knowing that we just know we aren't our thoughts or our patterns or our personality tendencies, but we are free of all of that. We are this freedom, this awareness. So being aware of our own experience, our inner experience in the moment is a powerful way to recognize how we get stuck and how we can be free. If there are conditioned tendencies playing out in you and you don't become aware of them, you're going to stay stuck forever. That's how it is. If you are an alcoholic and you keep giving yourself the permission to pick up that next drink and keep drinking, and you're not aware of what you're doing and what's behind that and what is happening in the moment as you feel whatever you feel in your body and as you make the movement to pick up the drink, if you're not aware of all of that, you're going to stay stuck in that tendency to drink too much. And that's true of any of our tendencies. The tendency to want to be in control, the tendency to be afraid of taking risks, the tendency to want to please other people. These are all tendencies that play out in our lives, and they're conditioned tendencies, they're conditioned patterns. We learn them and we identify with them, but they are not our true nature, and they are not who we are. To know this, it's essential, it's critical to become aware of these patterns when they're happening. It's normal for these patterns to play out. That's what they do. That's how we've learned over many years, sometimes decades, that this is what we do in our lives. But if that wants to change, if we want that to change, then we need to become aware. There was a turning point in my own path when I realized I started wanting to become really aware of everything that was happening in my own experience in the moment as it was happening. And I saw so much that I had never seen before. There were a lot of negative thoughts running through my mind, and they were often judgments of myself, judgments of other people, hopes that things would change in the future, which led me to feeling frustrated that things weren't changing now and they weren't different now. I really wanted happiness, and all I was thinking about was how much I wanted to be happy and peaceful, and that was leaving me in a sense of lack right now. There were also many feelings of fear and frustration and other things that were running in me. They were there, but I didn't realize it until I turned my attention into my experience to take a look. So this being aware is so powerful and so transformative. And it's actually essential if we're interested in the spiritual path and in being free. So I want to offer a couple of, actually more than a couple of suggestions about how we can begin to be aware. And first has to do with our attitude and intention. So if we're really on fire to know our own freedom, we have to want to know what's happening in our experience in every moment. It's the end of the unconscious or the subconscious, and it's bringing everything into conscious awareness. Even the things that might be difficult for us to see, or that we may resist, or that we're shameful about. But there's a great openness and peace that comes when we stop all those resistances and we're truly open and willing to being aware of whatever is here when it's here. We bring to that an attitude of curiosity, like, this shame, what is this shame? What is happening in this moment that shame is here? What thoughts are here? What thoughts are taking me away from the present moment? Then we can begin this process of inquiry But that can only happen if we're first aware of what is actually happening. So that attitude of wanting to be aware, that fire to say, I don't want to leave one stone unturned. I don't want to let anything be playing out automatically or unconsciously. I want to know what's happening. And this attitude and intention is a great support on the spiritual path. I also want to offer the invitation to slow things down. So when you know that you are playing out a tendency, or you think that you might be in a situation where you're going to be playing out a pattern, or you're going to be triggered, you stop and you breathe and you bring your attention in and you see what's here. By see what's here, I mean you recognize the thoughts. Like, say you're going to be in a situation where you think you might be triggered. You recognize the thoughts that you're thinking in the moment and the thoughts that you're likely to think when you're triggered. And you recognize the feelings that you feel and the bodily sensations. And you might even prepare to go into this situation asking yourself, like, how do I really want to show up? If I were free of these triggers and these tendencies, how do I really want to show up here? And you play that out. You let yourself experience that and feel that new way in your body. Can you see how important it is to be aware? If you're not aware, you're not going to be able to make any changes or shifts. You're not going to be able to choose differently. You're going to stay stuck. But by being aware and slowing things down, you give yourself the opportunity of doing something different, of getting out of your comfort zone, of doing something, making a choice that's more aligned with freedom than with the conditioned tendency. I also like a meditation practice, not to get stuck in like needing to meditate for a long time every day, but taking a time either in the morning or before you go to bed at night, or both of those, and just take a few minutes to breathe and sit in silence and notice your experience, whatever is arising, the thoughts and the physical sensations and the energies. Just noticing what's happening in this field of stillness, this observing presence. So we get to notice the thoughts and feelings that come up, and we also get the experience of this silence and stillness and simply being aware. So we let ourselves be in this infinite space of awareness. We know consciously that that's where we are. And that comes from slowing things down and having these specific periods, like in the morning or the evening, where there's a meditation practice. Also, if you find that you've played out a conditioned tendency of some kind, after the fact, when you wake up, it helps to unwind that. And when I say wake up, I mean, you realize you've been in this tendency. You realize that you've just gotten angry at someone again, or you've gotten into some kind of pattern of helping or pleasing people. When you realize that that's where you are, that's a beautiful opportunity to stop and be aware of what's happening right now, the thought patterns and the feelings that are happening in your body. So bringing this intention of wanting to be aware of everything, slowing things down so that you can see what's here, committing to this specific period of meditation in the morning or the evening so that you can see what's happening in your experience and be able to be in this stillness. These are all supports on the spiritual path. And when we're aware in this way, we realize that we always have a choice. A phrase that I use is suffering is optional. Option means choice. We always have a choice. And that doesn't mean that suffering's never going to happen or that we're never going to get caught in these conditioned patterns again. It means that in any moment it's possible to be aware. And when we stop and we open to what's happening, we're aware, then we can make the choice to not continue with that conditioned pattern. We stop running on automatic. We stop being unconscious, and we have the possibility in that moment of doing something different that's in line with our freedom, our essential freedom. So we decide not to say the thing that's going to trigger the other person or bring anger into a situation. We decide that we're not going to try to fix and help other people and work to get their approval. Instead, we just sit with what is, kind of like the Buddha under the Bodhi tree, sitting in stillness and silence and allowing things to be as they are. This is what's possible in our daily lives. It may seem radical, and in some cases it's very radical to just stop, see what's happening, and make a different choice that comes from this place of stillness. But it's absolutely possible for you. And this is the power of being aware in our daily lives. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I look forward to seeing you next time.